Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and just the other day I did a video kind of guessing when we might be getting the alpha and potentially the release of Midnight, and it looks like I called it. I said October, potentially October, if the release of this expansion is likely in February. While only a portion of my prediction came true, we did finally get a proper announcement of Midnight Alpha, which is dropping on October the 2nd, super early on, as well as they also have a new content schedule for the alpha testing as well, with multiple different phases, where they'll be doing like focus testing for all the different zones, which isn't atypical compared to War Within and expansions like Dragonflight or some of the more recent expansions as well. They also will be doing a new Q&A for players to ask all the questions, and even a deep dive going into some of the zones, the systems, and everything you need to know regarding Midnight Alpha. And for today's video, I really just want to go over everything you'd expect from next week regarding Midnight Alpha, the deep dive where you can ask your questions for them to potentially answer during the live stream, as well as what you could expect from the phases and the content that will be tested during Midnight Alpha arriving next week. As always, if you guys want to see more regular Midnight updates for the upcoming alpha, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. So before we actually get access to the alpha, the day before that, on October the 1st, which is coming up next week, specifically on a Wednesday, we are going to be getting actually a pretty deep dive on everything regarding Midnight, where they're going to be sitting down with the devs, going over the details of this expansion, and even taking some questions as well. It'll be a deep dive broadcast with all the basic leads that have been working on the product, taking a much closer look, specifically focusing on things like the zones of Midnight, the story questline, as well as the major expansion features. And I wouldn't be surprised if they went in a little bit more about class challenges and class changes, and possibly by then there'll be a whole slew of articles possibly on Wowhead, where players will be able to preview some of the different class changes regarding talents that'll be arriving as part of this expansion. And this is going to be starting at 9 a.m. Pacific Daytime, 12 East Coast, or if you're European, 6 p.m. Central European Time. I don't really know exactly what time zone most Europeans use. Everybody has like their own variation, but 6 p.m. CET is when it's going to be made available. They also do have a Q&A for this event as well. As part of the deep dive, you'll be able to ask questions and they may answer some of them. And the best place to submit your questions will be either to the Warcraft Reddit or possibly to the forums, which will have a link to where you can submit your questions for the forums down in the description of this video. I'm pretty sure there should be one for Europe and one for Americas, so hopefully I'll remember to add both links in the description specifically. But as for the actual Midnight Alpha test, that is going to be officially beginning on October the 2nd. And I'm pretty sure there's a good chance that I've already said this, but I called it. I actually called it. I posted about it saying, I'm thinking October. I'm thinking October. A lot of people thought that maybe that's way too early, possibly in December. But I felt to myself that, you know what? If this thing is releasing on February, after doing some sleuthing, after doing some research as to when potentially this expansion might be coming out, if it's anything like War Within, then the alpha is going to be released 4 months ahead of the actual release of the expansion. So if it's releasing in October, potentially we could have an expansion release in February. Don't hold my feet to the fire in this one. It's just a straight up guess. But I said October, and now I'm feeling a little more confident about a potential February release. Maybe way too early. Maybe I'm the crazy one. But so far, half of my prediction is here. The October release schedule, at least for the alpha. So this alpha is actually going to be releasing in phases. Not everything is going to be made available for testing immediately. So there's a whole schedule to showcase the content, but also to have a little bit more focused testing. And this isn't unusual for alphas. Usually they'll have very, very specific focus testing for one zone at a time to make sure that any bugs or any storyline issues or questline issues or things like that are found early by funneling players into one area, having them scour that area to find as many issues as possible and try to fix those, then move everybody into the next zone and the next zone and the next zone, and on they go. Phase 1 is going to feature level 80 to 83 content, specifically focused in the Eversong Woods, where you'll be able to level up, you'll be able to do some Arator campaign questlines, as well as some of the local stories. You also will have a preview of the housing early on as well, with the dungeons of Windrunner Spire and Murder Row available since they're pretty close to Silvermoon location. You also get access to some of the new delves and Valyria Sanguinar as a new delve companion, as well as a Devourer Demon Hunter spec for any Devourer Demon Hunters to test out the third playstyle option, but also a variety of other class updates included, without Apex talents at least at first, with the professional updates as well. The Phase 2 is going to transition to a level 83 to 88 content, specifically focused in zones like Zul Aman, and a lot of the zones that you'll be able to quest through in Midnight, it'll actually be your personal choice where you want to quest. So you could start in places like Zulaman, you could start in Voidstorm, you could start in Eversong Woods. So really it'll be an option of where you want to begin your quest and journey. It will be really up to you, but that just will be one of the next zones that will be tested, Zulaman specifically, with the dungeons such as Den of Nalarak and Maysara Caverns, as well as even more delves for you to dive into. Phase 3 is also going to be basically the reverse of Zulaman, still 83 to 88 content, but instead in Harandar in Eversong Woods, with dungeons of the Blinding Veil, even more delves, as well as UI components of encounter warnings, which I'm assuming are essentially boss mods like DBM or Bigwigs or things like that. Phase 4 is going to feature level 88 through 90 questing with the Voidstorm area. Dungeons are going to be Nexus Point, Zenith, Void Scar Arena, and Magister's Terrace, the return of the original TBC variation. Even more delves, and also a big one, PvP is finally getting some testing that week in particular, or that phase in particular, with new Slayer's Rise zone. There's just like a big open world PvP area, plus a 40 versus 40 battleground experience, which should be a ton of fun to dive into. And Phase 4 is going to be especially interesting because this is where they will be introducing Apex talents to all of our classes, which I'm insanely, incredibly excited for, to see exactly what kind of Apex talents every single playstyle is going to be getting. But Phase 5 is basically the final phase where you'll be able to get to level 90 content, and every single zone from this phase will be available. The first chapter of the max level story questline will be previewable as well. You'll get even more delves for you to jump into. The Prey system, which is a brand new open world system where you're hunting a powerful enemy, but they're hunting you as well. Think of it kind of like a war mode, but instead of fighting players, you're fighting this NPC that's really strong, has a bunch of affixes and modifiers, and is looking to take you out while you're just traversing the open world, which should be quite interesting. Max level open world content, specifically zone events. So think of things like the theater event in Dornogal. It'll be very similar to that. They'll be doing specific weekly zonal events as well, and you'll be able to participate with those in the Phase 5 also, as well as professions where players will be able to use sparks in order to craft items and gear. So that'll get plenty of testing, very similar to what we saw with profession testing that we've seen back with Dragonflight, back with War Within, and likely from there, this is where the game will probably move into beta testing, and by then we'll likely be doing some endgame testing with Mythic Plus dungeons and raids, which are not part of the alpha. There's usually are saved for the beta, so that the final content, the endgame content, can be tested after the classes are set up and ready to go, after the Apex talents and all these other features, baseline features, are ready to go. And then from there, that's where they could do a lot of the testing for all of the endgame content and progression content. But with that being said, as always, I do want to thank you guys so much for watching, and hope you guys did enjoy this video update. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like, as I would very much appreciate it. It helps out the channel tremendously. Also, be sure to join our Discord community. So far, I've been very lucky to get into the alphas for any of the newer expansions. And if I do get in the alpha for Midnight, I think we'll open up an extra section in our Discord channel where all of you guys are more than welcome to ask questions regarding alpha, and I'll answer every single one of them. If you got questions regarding talents or how abilities work and things like that, I want to dedicate a section for any players that are just interested and want to know more fine details about the expansion. I want to be able to answer those as best as I can, so be sure to join our Discord community in case we do get in. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in our next one.